The World Economic Forum has just put out a report on the fastest growing and declining jobs from now until 2030. And I want to go over these jobs because I think this is very important to understand as business owners and as people looking to possibly invest in businesses or work in businesses, right? You want to know what the the government of the world believes is going to happen. So let's go one by one and see what jobs are going away and are possibly going to grow and what business opportunities and investment opportunities may come from that. All right. So first, in the top fastest declining jobs, the first one is telemarketing. What's interesting about this is this was one of my first jobs. When I was in college, this was one of the highest paying jobs. You had to call people, but for my job, I had to call people and get them to give me their social security number on the phone. So I had because I was seeing if they could refinance their properties. So I would call them up, tell them what company I was with, and it was very, very hard. And one of the things AI is really good at is um convincing people. And that was one of the hardest parts. There was one guy who was just amazing at it. In order to keep your job, you had to get like three people a night to give you their social security number. I didn't last that long. This guy, though, you could hear him and he would just be getting five, 10 a night. There was just some people that were better at convincing people and making people feel comfortable to give them their social security. And I could see how AI can do that better than humans. Legal secretaries. This makes sense because a lot of that data is could possibly be an LLM, large language model that's just powered by all the documents in history. Legal officials. I'm guessing that's people who work with lawyers during cases, or maybe people who work around government type things. Because again, LLMs and possibly AI agents will be able to do repetitive work. Claim adjusters, examiners, and investigators. This just happened to me. I got into a car accident and it literally took someone a week to go look at my vehicle in the body place, and I sent them images, and me and the person gave them the report. So what ends up happening is they go and actually look at the car instead of just taking the same pictures. They go to a board and they call me back because they did claim it was my fault. I opened my door and somebody hit me. Um, so they claimed it was my fault, but they said it was a hard decision, and we were like we had to bring in other people. They could have been lying to me, but when you think about all that, it took literally almost a month for me to get my car back. This could have happened with AI in seconds, and I would have my car back in days instead of a month. So this makes a lot of sense actually. Graphic designers. This is sad because this is one of my first jobs. I was just telling my brother, my brother, I was just telling my sons, I was an intern at a record label and I was working on album covers, designing album covers for Loud Records, which had a lot of good acts. Um, uh, Wu-Tang Clan, Big Pun, um, Mobb Deep. So this was one of my first jobs. And to see it go away, that kind of sucks. Door-to-door sales workers. Wow. News and street vendors and related works. Wonder why this is. I guess more stuff going online, like less door to door because it doesn't scale as much, maybe. But I guess there is some form of trust, but it's true. People are not letting people in their house anymore like that. Like imagine knocking and allowing hearing somebody knock and say, "Oh yeah, come on inside." I can't see that much growing. Street vendors, though, I guess I wonder why that is. Because that is up to you. You know, you walk by them and you decide. I wonder why that is. That's interesting. If you think of anything or have any comments based on any of these things, let me know. Put it in the comments. Transportation attendants and conductors. I've already seen that over the years. I lived in New York City, and you know, the trains. When I was a kid, there was a lot more people around. People, you know, managing the place where you buy your tokens, because back then it was tokens. Now there's a booth. At least I haven't been on a train in a while. But when I last had to use the train, there was booths with nobody in them. Like you literally just put your card and take the money. So you didn't see that, and then even the conductors, that is definitely an AI able job. You know, you don't need a person there. It's kind of like Tesla and all those things. They're probably training right now to not need the person. Material recording and stock keeping clerks. Yeah, I could see that. That's like a heavy data job. It's like repetitive. Just count and see that it could all be done through a visual AI system. Accounting, bookkeeping, and payroll clerks. That's interesting because that is a very probably big job. I know a lot of people that are in this career, and I literally just I was just talking to because my company does crypto, and the new crypto laws are very hard to understand for most accountants. So I've been looking for accountants that deal with crypto uh, because we're growing treasuries and stuff like that using cryptocurrency. And yeah, bookkeeping is is needed, especially because on-chain data, off-chain data. But I just heard a story actually about Bench.co. This company raised possibly like $100 million in their lifetime, and the last round they raised was a $60 million round. And in 18 months they were out of business. And I think it was because they didn't scale enough to meet the venture scale that they um, proposed to be on when they raised the money. But maybe it's because they see some of this decline as well. I don't know. But makes sense. This is all stuff that could be done by an AI agent. It's basically looking at hundreds of line items and breaking them down into the right formats and then sending them to the right place. That is definitely something AI can do better than humans. Printed and related trades workers, yeah, workers, yeah. This is another early job of mine. Like I used to do print stuff. But print has been in decline for 25 years, I feel like. I remember when I first came across the web and I had a bunch of friends doing print, I was already like, okay, I'm off print. I don't do print anymore. The web is the future. I know that. I'm gonna learn that as much as possible. I'm not going to keep trying to make print. So that makes a lot of sense. I'm surprised it's still as big as it is. Administrative assistant and executive secretaries. This is interesting because as I grow Stackit.ai, I am starting to feel like when is the right point to get an administrative assistant? And I have started seeing AIs around it. And I haven't tested it yet. I feel like I still got time before I need that. But I already see them. I already see them now. And AI agents are not even like big yet. Imagine once you can have an assistant that literally checks all your emails, is on every meeting with you, is on every call with you. This is another thing that AI definitely can do better than people. And it sucks because again, there's a lot of jobs already, right? We're still four off. Cashiers and ticket clerks. We all saw this one coming. Anytime you go to Target, whatever, you see the lines of the ones with the people, then you see the ones with no people. Um, Again, there's still people a lot of people like going to a person, and sometimes you need a person, but you don't need as many people. That's the big difference. And something happened to me the other day. I was in BJ's and I was buying stuff, and the line was insane. The line was like an hour, it looked like. So I realized though you could download the app and just scan your items and just walk out. And I thought in that moment I did it. Boop, 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 got it, got out. And I was like, wow, all these people waiting online have no idea that this app, they could do this and they can go faster. And I was like, this is going to be like a microcosm of the world and how people are going to know something exists and it's going to make their lives easier and faster and probably more lucrative. And people are just going to stay in the old way and just stay in line. And this is where my content is around making sure you know there's an app. You don't need to wait online, right? And I can see these cashiers, especially with that scenario, right? Like you could just scan it and walk out. Why would you ever go on the line, right? And again, the Amazon store they created, this is all happening. Data entry clerks. So this one is actually pretty interesting because one of the hardest parts of AI is making sure that the data is entered in the right way. And if you're saying that the thing that powers the AI now needs less human data entry, it's pretty crazy. You've already started seeing that they're saying AI has already trained on all human knowledge already. So now it needs to create new ways of gaining knowledge and it's creating its own ways of creating knowledge. So like for instance, Tesla, they're starting to create virtual environments where cars drive to teach the cars because they've already done most of the roads in the world. Now they need to be able to see new roads and learn on the fly. So they're creating 3D environments where the car's driving and learning. That's not a human. Maybe the humans create the virtual environments. I don't know. Bank tellers and related clerks. This is just like I told you in the train stations, like there was nobody in booths. And again, even in banks, right? You much rather just go to the ATM. If the ATM allowed you to do the same things as you could do in the bank, inside the bank, most people just use the ATM. The problem is right now, banks don't let you do much on the ATMs, like limits, of how much you could put in, how much you could take out. Well, you can put in as much as you want, but the problem is the speed of when it hits your account. It's better to go to the teller so that your money hits your account instantly versus the ATM, you gotta wait till they put it in later. This is where cryptocurrency is just destroying this because I always tell people you can send USDC to the person. That person has that money instantly in their bank account, which is their wallet, and they can do whatever they want within seconds. They don't need to walk to a bank. They don't need to send it to a bank and then ask for a loan or whatever it is. This all happens in a decentralized way. Banks in general, I think, are screwed. DeFi is going hard after banks and they're going to try to protect themselves, but once you start using DeFi, it's really hard to use banks. And I suggest you all play around with that as business owners. It's so much better. Postal service clerks. That makes sense. How many people mail things anymore, right? Like physical things to mail. That's unless you're in an industry that sells like t-shirts or physical items, digital is much more lucrative and easier to do. So makes sense that postal workers won't be around much longer or won't need as many. Also, there's gonna have, if you've seen the drone deliveries and stuff like that, there's all kind of stuff that I could see. And a lot of postal workers don't like their job. I know UPS, there's a whole thing about UPS people making a lot of money, but there's a joke, about the postal worker that goes crazy and shoots everybody because um, people don't enjoy that job. And that's where I think all this is going to. I think we're going to head, and I think we're here right now, but only certain people get to enjoy it, is we're going to head to a time where you're going to enjoy your job. I think right now it's a very small percentage of people that actually like their job. I think we're going to head to a time where you're only going to work if you enjoy what you're doing, because a lot of these things are going to be end up being done by AI. So there's going to be things where it's like, I just want to do this, like art, right? You could sculpt or you could 3D print. The people who sculpt is because they like sculpting, right? It's not because it's the more efficient way, better way to do something. It's because they enjoy it. All right. So now, what are the growing jobs of the future? Okay. First, renewable energy engineers. That makes sense, right? I'm sitting on a beach right now. Solar power is more energy than they said it's something like every hour of solar power can power the whole planet, stuff like that. We don't have enough understanding of that to make that happen. And if we could, energy would be a lot cheaper. So it makes sense that that's a big job in the future. DevOps engineers. So you see, like a lot of people say, "Oh, coding is dead. Coding is dead." The DevOps is setting up the environments for what you're going to code and managing that. So just because AI is coding the thing, that doesn't mean it's going to manage the servers for you and make sure when things happen. But I can already see how AI could do this, but hey, it's on the list. They believe it's a big, and I still think understanding how to develop and how to make things is important. I just think instead of looking for jobs, if you know this stuff, you need to be looking at solving problems, because instead of hoping some company hires you, you may want to create the business that solves this problem, especially if you know how to do all this stuff. What I tend to find though is people not willing to do what I'm doing right now, which is create content or create marketing. So these developers don't tend to be entrepreneurs because of that. Information security analyst. So I could see this security. You may not want AI to be doing your security because it can get easily get around it. But as the intelligence of these systems get better and better, I think it will almost be bad business to have a person do things that a smarter entity, if you want to call it, can do. So this one, I don't know, but hey, if they believe it, we gotta look at it. And I would, if you're in any of these industries, it's good. There's good news for you. It's just more about what is your plan. Are you gonna create AI agents within these things? Environmental engineers. Makes sense. There's still things that need to be done in the real world. And you want to make sure that humans are involved in the loop. Um, Again, how much in the loop? That's going to be interesting. But that makes a lot of sense. Data analysts and scientists. Yeah, I actually believe this is what most people may become, right? Like at the end of the day, if you're growing up right now, a lot of the problems that exist right now probably are going to get solved by what we already have in our tech stack as humans. But going forward, what are the new problems? And every person now having unlimited access to intelligence and information, I think most people are just going to become like scientists. Like, okay, what are the current problems? Okay, global warming is still a problem. How can we try things to solve that? And I can see a time when that is all, because again, if you don't need money to live, you don't need to do things because it's do or die, you're most likely going to be looking at what problems to solve, right? Even as entrepreneurs, that's what we do, but we have to make money, so that's one of the parts. I often think if I didn't have to make money, what would I be doing? And I probably would be some type of scientist trying to figure out how to get to space because that was always one of my early childhood dreams. Like, and if I just had to go on a path that paid my bills. So that led me to design, animation, code, business, but it really wasn't what I wanted to do when I grew up. When I was a kid, it was just, you gotta pay bills. But I probably would have been like some type of scientist or data analysis for space if I didn't have to worry about money. Internet of Things specialist. This makes sense. Everything's gonna be online, right? Every device is going to have some type of data going back and forth, some type of intelligence on that device. Um, and people who understand how to do that and create that, like it makes sense. Smart cities, you hear that term a lot. So whole cities that want to have Internet of Things everywhere. So that's going to be a thing people are going to need. Light truck or delivery service drivers. This is actually interesting because this is one of the jobs that they say is going to go away because of AI. But I guess while the whole regulation of robots and self-driving gets figured out, still need humans. And actually already there's a shortage of these type of jobs. These are like tough jobs. People don't enjoy them. And I know a lot of AI companies are working on this. UI UX design. This is true. This makes sense because actually, this is true because humans use products and have like right now I'm building Stack. We're building our second design, our third version of our design. We're showing it to customers. We have UX designers, UI designers looking at that data, reworking it. But I could see that being done by AI. I could. I do think right now we are in a point where we need humans to do it, but I can see I've already seen UI AI that takes a drawing and makes a website. So again, we may be early. The whole thing with this stuff is timing. I really would like to look back at this video a year from now and see how much of this has happened, or even 5 years from now, right? So we're in 2025, saying in the next 5 years, these are the jobs. Let's see what actually happened. Autonomous and electric vehicle specialist. This makes sense, right? Like if we are on a mandate to go to mostly autonomous vehicles, somebody needs to know how to fix them. And yes, it could be robots, but in the beginning, we're gonna need people. It's the interesting thing is gonna be is how fast the robot thing happens. A lot of the digital AI stuff, that is easy to see that it can replace. The physical robot thing is going to be interesting to see the speed on that. Data warehousing specialist. That makes sense. So, all the data you collect as a company, now there's all kind of regulations against it. You gotta, this is why the way we build Stack, we didn't want to touch anybody's data. We partnered with companies where they hold the data. We wanted to create a decentralized entity where us as a company, we only do specific things for wallets. Everything else is created, managed, and done by other companies. And yes, those companies are going to become very valuable because they have the infrastructure to control that data because as a startup, you can't spend the money that's needed to do those kind of things. Like if you're starting today to create a data warehouse where you are in compliance with the government is very difficult, especially if you're doing anything in the financial industry. It's nuts. So you want to be able to, rely on companies that could do this or people that know how to do this. So that makes a lot of sense. And there's even like things like you could pull your data out of the analytics. So like if I'm a person, I can say, pull my node of data out of your system. And your system has to be able to do that and prove it. And just that alone, most companies can't do that kind of stuff. You're going to need data warehousing specialists to do that kind of thing or put that in place for your company or find vendors or as a business, you may want to make that business. Makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense, that one. Security management specialist. I don't know if that means physical security. I'm guessing it means, I mean, it could mean physical security, like that kind of security. It could mean digital security. I don't know. Um, Makes sense. Things need to be protected. So either physically or digitally makes sense. Software and application developers. All right. So this is pretty high up in the top fastest growing jobs. I believe what's going to happen is it's going to be more entrepreneurs than jobs. I don't know because again, think about it. Let's play it out. You're a person, you came up with an idea for an app, but now you have LLMs that make it easier. Okay. So before you needed like five developers. Now you may need one, two. So that's less jobs, right? So now you got three human beings instead of five human beings creating the same thing. So it's less jobs. But that person who thought of the idea was who may have been looking for a job still has an income, hopefully, if they market. Um, and they've also created two more jobs, but they're not creating 25 jobs, 50 jobs, 1,000 jobs. So Sam Altman says, I think we're going to soon see the first billion-dollar company all run by one person. Why? Because you got AI agents as the people instead of people as the people. Again, who knows how soon, because of course Sam Altman has to claim AI is moving fast because that's his business. Who knows? We'll see. AI and machine learning specialist. Duh. Yes, that makes sense, right? Everything is going that way. If you understand how to make this stuff from scratch, which is what machine learning and all that means, um, you are in high demand. And even if you don't know how to build it from scratch, but you know how to use the APIs better than other people when it comes to machine learning and AI, you're going to be in high demand. That's actually AI agents, all that kind of stuff. This is, it's actually three and four are like a hybrid of AI agents. The more you understand both those things. But I do think it's going to become all you need to know is software and application development. And the machine learning is just going to be APIs. Fintech engineers. I highly agree with this one. I was a creative. I was making animations for Disney advertising, and now I'm in fintech. And I was telling somebody the other day, I've worked on so many cool projects, Finding Nemo, The Incredibles, all kind of incredibly creative, fun stuff. I feel as much creative energy and fun building AI as I did working with Disney. And I don't know how, because as a kid, I would never imagine that in my life. Finance was just like, ugh, dirty, like thing. And I don't know what it is. It could be that in working with finance, you actually learn how to make a lot more money. So maybe that is the thing that makes it more fun. I don't know. I still get to be very creative though. And now because finance is open to the global world to do the things that before only like a specific type of person could do in Wall Street, it is going to be a very interesting time to be in this world, and I plan to be in it. Um, so I 1000% agree with this one. Big data specialist. So this one I I guess makes a lot of sense, right? It's All of us, we're creating data. Even right now, me shooting this video, YouTube or wherever this goes, and wherever this goes, is going to take all the data, everything I've said, everything on the screen, everybody who's watched this, everything they've watched before this, who they like and subscribe to. So like and subscribe this video to my channel. Thank you. They are going to look at all that data and figure things out. And that's what these algorithms are for. And this is where like this video can get 5 views, it can get 5 billion views because of these algorithms, and these big data scientists are figuring out all the videos and what makes people want to watch and not watch. That's just on YouTube. Every one of our businesses are going to need very similar. And I could see this. I actually need one of these right now because we've created a lot of data over the past 2 years, and I would love to learn from it. And we're going to set that up and have AIs look at the data and tell us what they see. Also, of course, humans right now, but eventually might not need as many humans. So that's it. That's the list of the fastest growing and declining jobs of 2030. And, if you want to understand more about how AI agents are going to change things, watch this next video.